Hey legends, it's Banger back with another video. For those of you that joined me 10 minutes ago, sorry about that. I was looping my own audio over top of my own speaking, so it sounded like I was talking to 1,000 versions of myself. Anyway, um, today I just wanted to do a quick live video to show you guys the new one and done tournament format. We're just going to go through some of the key features, some of the things to look out for, and probably the best way to approach these things. So not quite a one and done tournament. Normally with a one and done, you would be doing a single playthrough, no replays. But as you can see on screen, we've actually got 5 replays available today. So almost a one and done. It's certainly a single hole tournament. What you'll see as well is that we're playing in the higher wind speeds. So we've got the 18 to 22 mile an hour winds, which are the higher end of the Tour Pro winds. And all the other parameters vary somewhat. So I've played a few now. I've played them from various pin positions. So we've had a front and a back pin. And I've also had some fixed gear versus my own clubs. So we'll jump in and have a look and see what we're dealing with here. Before we do that, we'll just go and quickly have a look at the prizes. So as you can see, we've got a bracket of 30 people, and the top 15 are going to get at least 1 trophy ball in return, with the top 5 getting 2. Then everyone down to 25th place gets at least a Pro D back, and in the middle you're also going to get a high flight as well. So what I would say is that we've got 3 balls maximum as a return, and the best of that is going to be 2 Tour Pro balls and a Pro D. I think maybe the rewards aren't going to match the output here because we're dealing with the higher winds, and most people are going to want to play with a better quality ball. So at best, if you're someone that's going to replay that hole and try and get the win, potentially you're using 5 premium balls to get a return of 2 trophy balls and a Pro D1, which is really not that great. So I'm going to have a go at attacking this one. I might use a Pro D or a Pro DS, but I'm certainly not going to go ahead and spend, my premium ball stock on this format. If you get the lucky win and get a couple of trophy balls, happy days. But even a trophy ball in these high winds, they're still really hard to play with. If you're still building your account, you're going to get a platinum bag, so that's not too bad. Usually you'll get some decent club cards in the better quality bags. But if you've already got a maxed account, obviously that's going to be pretty useless to you. So with all of that said, let's go and have a look at the tournament. Now, one thing I've noticed with all of the ones I've played is that they've been par 5 holes, which is probably a little bit cheeky. It almost forces your hand to play with the premium balls because you want to get that just the greater distance off the tee. So I don't love the fact that they're par 5s, and I'm certainly going to try and use the free balls given the low return on potentially 5 replays. So I think this one's just a bit of a time waster. I wouldn't put too much effort or stock into these. Just a bit of fun. Certainly not your precision tournament that most of you guys are probably used to. Now, one thing as well I've noticed in one of the tournaments, and it doesn't look like it's in play here, but you're going to need to keep an eye on the wind speed. So obviously you can see that the jitter is in play. But what I've also noticed is that in one of the other ones, I had variable wind speed. So I loaded up a trophy ball just to see how much wind variation there was going to be with a trophy. And it varied between roughly 3.5 and 5.2 miles an hour of wind speed while I was watching it. So huge variation, really. If you're used to playing with any kind of precision, then you can forget it. This is purely a hit and hope that you get close. It's still a good idea to use Caddy or your calculations like you normally would, because it's going to get you that better tiebreaker and hopefully win some of these tournaments. But they're really just a throwaway little time waster. As I said, I wouldn't be putting too much time or effort into these. So let's have a look and see. Before I start, I just want to see what everyone's done. Okay, so we've got a few names in there. So we've got Brian, who is Matthew W., and my good mate Yarko, the Reverend. A couple of other players that I recognise as well. And some decent tiebreakers, so 1778. I'm assuming that these guys have probably used a premium ball. But as I said, I'm not going to go ahead and waste premium balls when I know the return is so low. One thing in the other ones I've played, the wind angle has been pretty much fixed apart from the jitter. So you can probably use a practice run with the cheap balls, with a Pro DS or a Pro D1. Use a practice run and actually get a decent read on the rollout and then replay. So you can, I would certainly be happy to use a couple of Pro DSs or a Pro D1 to win some trophy balls if you can get close. So let's go and have a look. So we've got the Banff Bastard. As I said, we're dealing mostly with the par fives, it seems like. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit the shot. I just want to get it up there close because this is, as most of you know, this is a long par five. So we just want to get as close as we can. A little bit of tail helps. And this looks pretty good. So 337, that's a good drive on this hole. And we've got a tail to match. That's also good. So we'll go ahead and set up our shots. Now, most of you will know this green rolls forever. So, and I've got a really strong tailwind. So I just want it to, I don't know, I'm probably going to aim it there, just off the green. Maybe even back a little bit further. And for those that play the Grand Prix tournament, this is kind of how I go about dialing in my shots. So maybe I'll use this format as a bit of a educational tool. I can sort of show how you can dial in a shot when you've got fixed wins. And you guys can implement it then in the showdowns and the Grand Prix tournaments. So we're at max here. And we've got a 9.6 mile an hour tailwind. Now I'm using top spin, so I'm going to edit my numbers to account for the different secondary wind effect. I'm not going to go through that stuff in this video, but I might make one soon explaining all of that. But let's go with 10% extra. So that looks pretty good for the line. And with the jitter, I'm not going to spend too much time lining it up. Just want to be roughly right. So we'll go 9.65 first. And then we'll do another one. Okay, so our guide tip was just off the fringe. We're just going to take mental notes on where we end up because I can go and do a replay and try and get closer again next time. All right, let's go. See how much rollout I get here. That's going to go way off the back, I think. Oh no, not too bad. Okay, so it's long. Line was really good. Really hard to control the speed on these greens, so that's close. I'm kind of happy with that. So let's go again. So I was just off the fringe with my guide tip, so I probably want to be another bar less top spin than I was using, maybe 2 bars. We'll try 2. So same again, I'm just going to blast it up there. Get it down there as far as I can. So I think I was 337 yards last time. Let's see what I get to here. 335. So pretty much the same distance. That's good. Same tailwind again. So I was just off the fringe. So I want to be a bit shorter this time. So I think maybe there. And I was coming left to right because this one breaks heavily left to right once you get over the ridge. And same wind, same setup. Let's go and give it a crack. As I said, I'm not going to waste much time trying to get too precise with my pull, given the luck component of the wind jitter. We'll take a shot. So I used about 2 bars less top spin this time, so we should be able to see how much closer we get with this one. This looks better from a speed perspective, so I'm still a bit wide. Really nice distance though, look at that, that's good. So I'm going to putt this one out. I didn't bother putting the first one because I knew I wasn't going to get a place with that. But I'm going to go ahead and putt this, see where we finish. Should be somewhere in the top 10, hopefully. And we are 10th. There you go. So let's go ahead. We'll do one more replay. One thing that might be worth doing here is strategizing your bracket entry. Now, I'm probably going to tell you guys this and everyone's going to do it, so it won't work. But it might be worth entering these ones really late because you might get some bots in your bracket or guys that are only going to get that actual one and done chance. So worth having a late entry just to see whether that gives you any success or not. So same again, we're just going to blast it down. I want to get somewhere around that 335 mark. I know my distance was good. 2 bars is top spin. This might be a little bit shorter because the wind speed was a bit lower and a slightly less tail. So there we go, good. We're in the same spot. We'll just go ahead and do 2 bars top spin. And I ended up a bit wide last time. And this time I've got actually a little bit more right to left in my wind. It's a bit more of a tailwind, but a little bit more right to left. So I can set up more directly in line with the cup. Okay, so 8.6 this time. Same wind angle. 9.58. Roughly there. So this one will finish to the right now. And that was probably just a pull issue. So with that more right component, I probably didn't turn my window around enough when I did my pull. But I think I'm closer than last time, so that's good. Should get me a higher placing. Yeah, I don't know, Shredder. So, question on the ring size. Actually, let's do a replay and have a look. We'll see. We can measure it live. I used one on a hole earlier and I was way off, way underpulled. So I thought maybe I they were the D1 numbers. I just haven't really used them yet. Today's the first time, so we can go and have a look. All right, so all I'm going to do to measure is set up on the outside edge of that ring. I might pull it back a little bit actually. Set my grid up to make sure I've got a marker for the edge of the ring. Yep, so they are normal size rings. Good pickup. Thanks, Shredder. All right, so I will take Pro D off and we'll go from there. See if I can get a bit closer. So I was over pulling, so I can probably start a little bit closer than I have been. We'll see how we go. All right, so nice straight tail, little bit of left to right, like we started with. So I'm going to, I'll use the same setup, but I'll just go back to my normal numbers. And as I said, I know this one breaks left to right, so it's gonna go a little bit wider. Looks good. So 9.2. Still going to keep my 10% for the higher wind speed, and because I've got top spin on there as well. So left to right wind slightly, just ever so slightly. See if I can get a decent line here. As I said before, it's quite a bit of luck involved with these wind jitter tournaments, so I'm not too worried about my pull angle. Kind of rolling a dice anyway. .9 rings, that looks good. Better hurry up so I can get this putt in. It should be a little bit better. Still a bit short. So the biggest problem with these, I don't know necessarily what I've done wrong. When you've got a fixed wind speed and wind angle, obviously you can determine what the mistake was when you know your numbers are accurate. With these jitter tournaments, there could be so many things that you've done wrong that you're just not seeing, and it's all related to the wind because you've got that luck factor in play. So it makes it harder. I certainly don't love this approach. I'm more inclined to the accuracy component. Whereas I know there's plenty of people that just sort of play the hit and hope game, and that's fine. Like no judgment on that at all. That's just not why I started playing this game. That's not why I came over from Golf Clash. So, I came over because it was a solvable puzzle, and it looks like they're going to start jumbling up all the pieces. So, I don't know. I'm a little bit frustrated and disappointed with where things are going, but hopefully it's just going to be limited. I think the last setup really showed that there's a genuine divide in the community. Like there is half the people want jitter and half the people don't. And maybe some of those people that played jitter, and I had a look through my tournament bracket for the jitter versus no jitter tournament, and there was a heap of guys in the jitter tournaments that you would class as quality players who I'd say probably did it for the easy win. So I think the outcome of that is probably not as representative as it might have looked. I think you'll probably find that a small majority, I don't think it's a huge majority, but a small majority of players probably actually prefer no jitter. And I think a bigger majority of those players probably spend more. So I'm sure these stats will play out in the wash eventually. But yeah, I don't know. I think that maybe there might be some course correction to be had here, because I don't see the benefits long term for the game, other than maybe getting a little bit higher spend out of people. I don't know. So we'll go ahead and do another one. So as I said, I've had par 5 every time. Let's see if we can get something that's not a par 5, and maybe a fixed gear tournament. Let's see. All right. So we've got fixed gear this time. Looks like it's the same bag. Just going to go ahead and change my bag in Caddy. So what are we Viking? This is going to be a tricky hole. So we've got back tees, and a club with not much backspin when on our approach shot. And this hole with the trees in the middle of the fairway, you really can't blast it up to try and get into long iron range. So yeah, I don't know. This format just doesn't scream fun to me, but we'll play it out anyway. Okay, so 72% ball guide, tailwind again. Oh, there we go. Look, so we've got the variable wind this time. So you'll see my wind speed is, I think it started at about 7 miles per hour, down to 7.5. I just saw it go up to 8.4. I might just put I'll put a Protex on because that's got no wind resistance. I just want to see what the actual variance is, whether it's 100% variance or not. I'd say it probably is. It probably goes to the absolute extremes. So you will probably get wind between 18 and 22 at any stage on the hole. So we're getting up there now. So this, I reckon, eventually, this is really going to frustrate people, especially if you're not using balls that cut the wind down to 3.5 roughly miles an hour. If you're a mile per hour out with something like a Pro DS, that's the difference between skirting a fairway and catching the rough. It just seems silly to me. I don't mind the idea of the single hole tournaments. I think that's fun, but I think they're probably going to need to make some changes to make it a long-term feature, something that's more enjoyable. So I think looking at the wind speed variance there, you're probably going to find winds up to 4 miles per hour max difference. So we'll add 6% here because I'm using a little bit of topspin. So 4.05 rings. See if I don't catch the rough here. Should be okay. Looks pretty good. Let's see what wind we get on approach. Alright, so not too bad. We've got a side wind. So I'm at max there with a little bit of tail, and my Viking 6 is 52% ball guide. So all I'm going to do is use my Caddy horizontal markers to get 50% so I can see roughly what that looks like. So that's 50% there, and I've got a tail, so I want to pull it up a bit quicker. That looks pretty good to me. So as I said, the problem is here that we're dealing with variable wind. So I guess it doesn't really matter how precise I try and be. I could be shooting when it's 7 miles per hour. I could be shooting when it's 9 miles per hour. I really just don't know. So bit of pot luck here. Yeah, I've already said my piece on that, but I'm not a fan. See, I don't even know what wind speed to use to do my calculations. I'll go with 8.5, somewhere in the. We'll go with 9. 9 somewhere in the middle. And we're using backspin again, so I can drop that down to say 2%. I might go 3 just to be safe. Okay, so I've used 9 miles an hour, and now my wind has dropped down to 7s. I don't even know whether to wait or whether what I'm looking at is actually just a random visualization like it is with the jitter, or whether that's truly the wind speed right now. I just don't know. So anyway, we'll just go ahead and make the adjustment. So there's a right to left wind. I want to favour the right side. And if you guys want to look at my approach to that method, one of my last Grand Prix guides, I think it was the day 1 Grand Prix, I went through my approach to dealing with the various wind angles. So go and have a look at that. And I don't know, that looks pretty close. Let's go. So 4.6. Yeah, that's pretty decent. I'll take that. I think if you're getting any closer than that, you're going to win. You've got clubs that you don't use, coupled with variable wind speed, coupled with a huge amount of jitter. It's just pure pot luck. So 1761, I'm happy with that. Look at that. What a weird way to win a tournament. It's so silly. Anyway, so I just wanted to give you guys a look. If you got any questions about the format or any questions about how I'm going about these, shoot me a message or put a comment on this video once it loads. Hit me up on Facebook. I'm always around. You guys know I'm happy to answer any questions. So yeah, hope you guys got something out of it. I think my final review is that it could be a really great concept, and right now it's not. Yeah, I think there's just too much luck involved for you to get any kind of kick out of the drop. If you get a drop, it's going to be pure luck, even if you're using a premium ball. Even if you're loading wind pins, the best premium ball, like a Flight A ball with a gold wind pin, knocking your winds down to 2 miles an hour or less, you've got variable speed and angle, so it's just luck. If you get a drop, happy days. You won the lottery today. All right, so I'm going to leave it there. Thanks, guys, and go and have a look at it. Don't waste your good balls. I really think this is just a bit of a nice little time waster between waiting for royales and tournaments to finish. Feels kind of like head to head, but anyway, we'll see. Good luck out there, guys, and we'll see you again soon. Cheers. My is coupled with variable wind speed, coupled with a huge amount of jitter. It's just pure pop luck. So 1761. I'm happy with that. Look at that. What a weird way